Okay, welcome, and welcome back to the She Mind. I'm Tirzah Elese. I am the host and the founder of She Exclusive and the podcast She Mind. And as you heard in the intro, this is a space for real women with real issues, engaging in real talk, offering real solutions. And we focus on the skills, the fabulousness, and the needs of women in the business sphere, those who are aspiring entrepreneurs, established entrepreneurs, or those in business. And we are here really to talk about the real issues that make a difference in your day-to-day and in your life. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy this coming podcast. I am very honored and lucky to be sat across from Ilanith Benjamin, otherwise known as
Ila.
Ila.
Yes.
Ila. Welcome, Ila.
Thank you so much, Tirzah.
Ila is an energy therapist, and she focuses on supporting women in the business sphere to realign energies, etc. Ilanith, tell us a little bit. Give us your headline title.
Yeah. So I focus energy therapist, and I focus specifically with women who are empathic leaders or soulful entrepreneurs. And I help them lead not only from their cycles, but from their energy body and a deeper sense of wisdom that we all carry within. So really leading from the magic that is woman, that is being a woman in this work sphere. And that's what I do.
Well, I was honored to meet Ilanith maybe 6-8 months ago or something?
Yeah, maybe even a little bit more than that. Yeah.
Maybe even a year ago. And we've had some beautiful, deep conversations. I've joined her workshop, which is just energizing and so impactful. And I have to admit that the beauty that this woman carries with her and the energies that she exudes are really life-changing and something that really makes one sit up and think.
Oh.
And I've invited her today to be part of this podcast because I want to share that energy with you all. And we've decided that we're going to focus on, like you were just saying, the beauty of the strength that comes with women. And if we think back to the origin of man and the origin of history, the woman was the most revered, the most respected, because she brought life to the communities, right? She brought that sense of oneness, that togetherness. She brought the food to the table. She brought the friends together. She brought the children and the forwardness to the community. And over the centuries, that's been squashed, whether it's been through religious restraints, control. The list goes on, and we don't need to go there today. But often forgotten in the world of business.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing, beautiful strengths.
Absolutely.
So we're focusing this on the strengths that women bring in leadership, as CEOs, and as entrepreneurs. Over to you. Give us a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, over the years, we've kind of lost that essence. We've lost that magic that we carry within ourselves as women, and this ability to produce. We're creators. And we can do it in a completely different way than men can do it. But we've been kind of piggybacking on their models, on society's models, and losing ourselves as a result of that. So if we look at maybe the 1950s, the 1960s, there was an imbalance, right? So women stayed at home, they did everything on the home front. Men went out to work, produced, came back, brought home the bacon, and then there was an imbalance. We were angry, we were upset. we wanted to kind of bring our gifts to the world as well. And, since the 1970s, 80s, 90s until present, what we've been doing is trying to do it all. We've been trying to do it all.
Yes.
We think that we can do it all too. The mothers, the workers, the housekeepers, the psychologists to our friends. And at the end of the day, where does this leave us? It leaves us burnt out. It leaves us angry. It leaves us not producing in a way that is sustainable. And so we need to not reinvent the wheel, but we need to create something completely different here, because we're going into an era in this world where there's a demand for doing business differently. Mm-hmm. We can't just fall back on the traditional pillars that have been created by our patriarchal society. We need to do something that hasn't been created. And so that really comes from, for me, the essence of it is connecting with our inner wisdom, connecting with what we already know and connecting with our intuition and doing and acting from a space that is aligned.
There's just so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
That was just so beautiful and well said. I just want to go back to that statement of we're in a world today where the world is demanding that we do business differently.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just unpack that a little bit, because I think people will really resonate with this. There's so many soft skills that are being sought after at the moment that maybe we're not seeing or recognizing as actually being at the forefront of what people are looking for in business.
100%.
And women hold them.
Exactly. There's this invitation to expand on our soft skills, and women are the ones who know how to do this, and we do this from such a loving and beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
There's this need for collaboration and community versus competition.
Yes.
People are now shit detectors with the amount of information that is available to them. They're able to align with what's authentic and what's not.
Yes.
And so we need to be able to come together and do this completely differently, right?
100%.
We need to have modern day women's circles, and women need to come together, and we share emotions and we share stories, and we need to be able to do that in a way that elevates each other as opposed to competing with each other, because we know where that leads us. We've worked in those businesses where women are constantly, neck to neck. It doesn't serve anybody at the end.
That's
so
right.
We need to learn how to come back together and really collaborate, share ideas, support each other, and do so from a place that is, again, in line with who we are as human beings, and really tapping into that. What you're saying about the soft skills is so relevant, Tirzah. Just looking at somebody in the eye and personal touch, putting my hands on their arms when I'm speaking to them, deep active listening, all of these things are just dissolving, and we see them dissolving. And then there's this, when we find it, we're almost addicted to it and we want more of it.
Yes.
And it's refreshing, and it feels like this new energy that comes in all of this darkness that we've been, hustling through. It's refreshing when something new comes in and people can really connect heart to heart. And that's what we're missing. And if you can do that as a woman, if you can really connect heart to heart, I guarantee you're going to be flying in your business and in your personal life.
Yeah.
But that comes from really connecting with yourself first. Do I know myself? Do I know what's blocking me from connecting with myself? This word of self-love is thrown around, so taboo, but do we really know what it means to really honor what my desires are and honor what I want to bring to this world and what my mission is? And we get disconnected from that.
We do.
When we get disconnected from it, we're just flying by the seat of our pants. We're not really doing what we need to do, and everything snowballs in a bad way.
Yeah. So amazing. So true. Little story. I was having a meeting the other day with a group of men, and we were talking about a leadership training program that I might deliver for this large petrol company.
Okay.
And they were giving examples of things that they do in their training. And one of them appeared to me to be quite aggressive in a way, almost mocking or putting a shame factor on someone's ability or skill. So they would get people to put forward how they would do things or their problem solving strategies or their skills. And then they would make those people turn around and face backwards towards them while they had a discussion on what they thought about this person's ideas.
I can't believe it.
Or skills. And then really getting them to have some aha moments by hearing behind someone talking behind their back in a way of what maybe a stakeholder or another employee or customer might think. And I said, so were those feedback comments maybe negative or almost mocking? And they said, yes, but it really helped them to have some aha moments, and we got them to shift their behaviors. And I said to them, well, the essence of my training actually is about empowerment and making someone believe that they're on the right track, and then suggesting other lines of thought or other.
Sure.
And you mentioned something right at the beginning of our talk before we started recording and going live. And you said one of your up and coming programs or trainings is called Connecting with the soul of your business.
Yes.
And just what you were saying earlier about those soft skills and us really needing to embrace them and knowing ourselves and what we're bringing to our business.
Yeah.
I think that example, it came to mind like, well, I'm not going to do something like that in a training. I'm sorry, like you'll never see that come from me.
Mm-hmm.
What I would rather do is have group work and talking through how we can enhance a strategy or how we can use where someone has started and the ideas that they're offering. Because it takes humility for someone to offer their strategies in a large group setting.
Yes.
And I feel the last thing you'd want to do is make them feel stupid or in any way on the wrong track for those strategies. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's this idea that I need to almost step on you in order to elevate myself or make myself look a certain way.
Type thing. Whereas the soul of my business is empowerment. What runs through everything. That's my main word.
Absolutely.
And I want to be true to that. And I'm going to fight for that or stand up for that, even if I don't get a client or I don't get business. Well, actually, the way I would do it would be through open-ended questioning, through encouragement around how they've done things and what they're thinking, and then offer strategies that might give them yet another idea.
And look at the way that you parachuted in and you really honored your value as a woman and why you do what you do. And I think that's what happens to us, is that we lose that along the way, is that we get disconnected from our why. And for you to put that on the table in a boardroom full of men was really courageous and really necessary, because we often find ourselves, and this is what's happened year after year, day after day, is that we lose ourselves in that group dynamic. It's extremely powerful. And I'm positive that there were some men sitting in that boardroom, which intuitively were able to discern, and it felt wrong, but were so disconnected from themselves that they weren't able to show up with a voice that was able to honor others and in their humanity and themselves and what the truth of their voice was. But you did it. You stepped up and you mentioned it. And I think that's honorable, honestly, courageous.
Yeah. And I think it's something that all women need to do more of. I was watching another TED talk called Having a Seat at the Table or something. And this woman was saying how hard it was in the world of work to get that seat at the table at the same level, perhaps, as a male CEO or a male manager, etc. Yeah. And I think the essence of it really comes back to us standing up for what we are amazing at, which is, the empathetic skills, the global communication, the awareness, the real intuitive. But many women don't, because they believe they're not going to get that seat at the table if they don't match the other skills.
Right.
Or show to be hard or show to be cutthroat or all the things that we're meant to be in business.
Absolutely, which brings us back to what you were saying at the beginning of this conversation, is that those skills that we have inherently are gold. And those are the skills that people are going to be looking for, because we're tired. We're exhausted of the same script over and over again. And, it's not working anymore. And it's taking us further and further away from our authenticity, from our purpose, from our mission. And there needs to be this celebration or this realignment to, I am successful when you're successful. And when I look outside of myself and really try to honor and what your practices are or what your intentions are and where you're coming from, and I want to celebrate your wins.
Yes.
That also means that I'm successful at the end of the day.
100%.
But these are skills that we're losing, right? Because we think that we need to be in a space of competition and put downs and celebrating ourselves, and the ego comes in very strong. But there is something, and you said there's this magic in these soft skills that we're losing, that women are champions at. We really are champions at when we're able to harness it. It can take us really far, and there's a necessity for it more and more these days as we disconnect from ourselves with technology, with just the way the world is going in general. Yeah.
And again, there's been multiple conversations I've had with our beautiful male counterparts. Where, I've said, well, just tell me how you're feeling or share your vulnerability. No, that will make me weak. And it is a real embedded mindset in men that when you showcase care or, emotion or feeling or even humility, that it makes you weak. And my go-to response is, no, it actually makes you strong, attractive, and maybe even sexy.
Absolutely.
You showcase vulnerability, or you show humility, or you put someone else in front of you, or you make them the big one on the standing at
Right.
the top tier, rather than yourself, it's actually so attractive, and people gravitate towards you and want to be near you and work for you.
Exactly.
And we have, and as women, if we can lead with that and we can embed that within our CEO element, we're going to attract all these people.
Absolutely. When we stop leading from an energy of desperation and an energy and an energy of competition, that's when we really start shining.
Yes.
That's
in your course, what are some of the key things, the key sort of headlines that you teach women?
Yeah. So in the one that's coming up at the end of May, you're speaking about the connecting to the soul of your business.
Yeah, or even in your larger program.
Yeah, so I have a larger program coming up at the end of September. And that one is 6 months. It's a 6-month program. So it's an intensive dive into the energy of not just your business, but really yourself, because you're a reflection of your business. Whatever's going on inside of here is showing up in your business. And so what I try to teach there is that us as women, we can't compartmentalize, here's my personal life, here's my friends, here's my kids, here's my job, is that it's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. And when I am able to really empty my container from those things that are holding me back from showing up in any parts of my life, then it reflects on other things, if that makes sense. So when I really honor my needs as a woman, as a partner in a relationship, and when I put myself first, it reflects on my business. I start to do that in all of my relationships. But this particular course, just to kind of come back and harness back to what you were saying, it looks at, how to empty that container, how to identify what those blocks are, because sometimes a lot of the times we can't see our own blind spots. Yes. So identifying what they are, because I come in from a voice of energy, and we have 10 bodies within us. We have our physical, emotional, mental, and then we have 7 energy bodies. My expertise is really working on the energy bodies. So how do we clear those, not just from diet or taking the next coaching program or going to the gym or any of those kinds of things. I look at a deeper, more rooted way of unpacking what's holding us back, whether that's perfectionism, imposter syndrome, fear of visibility, whatever those typical blocks are. Where do they really come from? Let's go and dive in. Go deep. And go deep, because these things stick on our energy body. We can't see the energy body, but it's very subtle, and it shows up as filters in all of our interactions and how we do work. So I have this way of really diving deep and unpacking that. But not only that, teaching you how to clear that energy. I work a lot with plant magic and flowers and all that sort of thing, and teach you how to clear your own energy body when you feel like life is weighing you down. And then the other aspect of it is protection. So we find ourselves in these very dense situations. How do we protect ourselves where we're not absorbing the messaging or the weight of our clients or the people that we're interacting with, our coworkers? So protecting yourself, really valuing the importance of protecting your space as well. Honoring that space is a part of how my business is, whether it's successful or not. And then the other part of it is aligning. So how do I call in? How do I call in, the money, the success, the right aligned clients? How do I do that? And this, for me, energy is key. Energy is key for all of this. Yeah. It's not that I go and I seek. That's what we've traditionally been doing as men, as women dressed as men, is going and seeking. But there's a way. Once you start to empty your container, Tirzah, I'm telling you, like a lighthouse, the boats start turning towards you, and they want to know what you're doing, what's going on, and they're interested in what it is your message is to the world. But it comes from really, really standing in a way that is the most aligned with who you are authentically, without all of the stuff that we've accumulated in our energy body. It's an aspect that's often forgotten in business. And so I have this way of identifying what it is, clearing it out, so that you don't have to get into the grind of the hustle and the day-to-day get stolen away by all of the messaging that comes with how to do marketing, how to do sales. No, I'm sorry, I'm going on and on here. My Instagram, for instance, I was resisting doing Instagram forever. And then the way that I approached Instagram, because I was like, I need to figure out how to do this in a way that feels really good to me and honors my values. And so what I ended up doing was a storefront Instagram where all of my posts, I feel really connected to them. It's not about what my ideal client wants to hear. It's not about how many followers I have or what the algorithm is. It's really about what resonates the most with me. And when I approached Instagram from that way, there was a joy that was involved. The creative process became very real because it was really honoring what I needed, as opposed to constantly trying to do what everybody else wants or trying to be that voice that everybody else wanted to hear. I kind of looked more inward to what do I want to hear? What is it that I need? What is the message that is aligned with my values? And really brought that to the world. And it was amazing. It was a really healthy experience.
And did it bring more engagement into your page?
Yeah, exactly. So it brought more engagement into my page, not only from that angle, but more people have been messaging me, telling me how much they resonate with the messaging, and really admire and appreciate the voice that I'm coming from. So that's been really amazing and beautiful.
Yeah, really good tip there. And I just on the back of that, I was in a conference and someone said something that really stuck with me. And they were like, if you want to be successful in whatever business you're doing, stop selling and start serving.
Exactly.
And they were like, serve yourself and what's right for you. Stick with, be authentic to what it is you're bringing to the world and serve others. Because when you serve and you give, people want more.
Absolutely.
When they feel that you're just pushing something on them because of desperation to make money, it drives them further and further away.
100%. And I love what you said, that it was key about serving yourself. You really have to serve yourself and honor yourself first, and really tap into, do I have this capacity to receive? Do I have this capacity to accept? And that's really key as well.
Yes, 100%. I'm just going to go back because you said so much that brought so much value. I want to ask you a question. Right at the beginning, you were saying that we have all of these sort of unseen blockers, and maybe people know they have them, but most of the time we don't, which is why they remain blockers, right?
Right.
Why do you think people don't see them? Or why do you think people don't know they have them?
Right. I think that they are embedded from messaging that we get from our parents when we're children. And in adolescence, it's messaging that we get from society, and it's our normal. We don't, how can we give apples if all we received were oranges? We can't give anything that's different of ourselves if we don't even know how to exist in the world differently. Yeah. And so these kinds of messaging that is very subtle, it's very subtle. Like if I were to choose perfectionism, for instance, you can unpack perfectionism forever. Yes. Perfectionism is a very distorted feminine archetype, and it comes from our mothers, actually. And it's this idea that's also connected to visibility and wanting to be seen and worthiness. So an example, like just an on the floor example, is I have this program that I want to launch, but I keep trying to perfect it. The colors aren't right. The font's not right. Am I doing the messaging right? And we sit there and we hold ourselves back from imperfect action, yes, from putting things out into the world, because there's this subtle messaging that we've now inherited as our own voice that says, well, are you going to be accepted? Is this too much? Is this something that that people are going to criticize? Is it really needed? And then like that messaging behind the perfectionism, perfectionism is the shield. Yes. But behind that shield, there's so many other things that a woman needs to go deeper in. And the question is, where did that come from? Is that my belief? Is that a belief that's been instilled in me? Is that my voice? Is that somebody else's voice? Is that something that I've experienced or somebody else's experience that I've inherited? And it goes on and on and on. And it's like, let's look at perfectionism as perhaps a fear, a fear from really putting yourself out there. Why don't you want to put yourself out there?
Yeah.
What is it that's holding you back? And, the same thing with imposter syndrome. I can go on and on. Like there's so many different things that are subtle.
The hows, aren't they? These are the how people can know what they don't know. So these is like sort of symptoms in your life or characteristics that maybe you're frustrated with.
Yes.
Maybe you're the CEO in a company, or not CEO, perhaps a top manager, but you still can't bring yourself to say enough in board meetings, or you can't say no to certain ways of doing things, and because you believe it to be different, but you just can't make that change. It's these types of characteristics or things that frustrate you that can help you go back to knowing what you don't know about yourself, right?
Right. Absolutely. And the moment that you work on that, when you really dig deep, is the moment that it stops being a filter. It stops even being a thing in your life. And then it clears another block on this journey that is life for you. It's not an issue. It's not a trigger anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we forget that as businesswomen, that we have this capacity to listen in really deeply, and that we need to collaborate. We need other women to call out our blind spots because we can't see it. And in my workshops and my experiences, it's incredible because most women are shaking their heads up and down like, yeah, me too. Or I saw this. Let me share something with you. We're missing at this workshop that I'm going to do at the end of the month. It's like this modern day women's circle where women need to come together and collaborate, and we share and we value, and we want to elevate other women within our circle. We want to see them successful because we understand the resonance of that. When you're successful, I'm successful as well. And it's a really beautiful workshop as well, because like I said, it's just collaboration, it's community, it's what we're missing, especially as women who are entrepreneurs, but even the isolation that comes along with working corporate.
Yeah. So just to plug that's happening at the end of May. I believe it's the 20th, you said?
It's happening on the 30th of May, which is 30th. A Saturday. I think, the Saturday, is that Saturday is the 30th? No, so unfortunately for any listeners not in Valencia, you will not be able to enjoy this amazing workshop. But for those of you who are in Valencia, get yourself down there. All the details will be in the bio of this podcast. The 31st of May.
31st of May with Ilanith. It's called Connecting with the Soul of Your Business. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that sounds absolutely wonderful. And I know that you're going to gain so much from it because of what I've seen and heard with Ilanith. But more than that, it's something we were saying about before, as entrepreneurs or as business women, or even as just women in general and mothers, we put self-care or kind of growth, our own personal growth on the back burner or last on the list. And it's really detrimental for us, really. So put yourself first this month, ladies, and get yourself there.
Exactly. Sometimes the hardest thing is just getting out there, especially because it's a Saturday morning and most of us want to sleep in, or we're burnt out, or we're just on the collapse from the rest of the week. But once you get out there, it's such a celebration of womanhood and yourself, and it helps you to repivot on your path moving forward from a place of clarity.
Yeah. And for those who can't make it, what would be a takeaway? So if we were to sum up everything we talked about today, there's just been a lot. Yeah. Some of the key takeaways for me have been recognize that soft skills are just as powerful as the skills that we currently believe are going to get us to the top. Things like, care of others, intuition,
empathy, compassion, unity, all of these.
Respect.
Yes.
Empowerment.
Personal touch, eye contact.
These are the things that actually will really get you far in business. So value them and bring them out in your day-to-day when you're at work or when you're in your work environment, because you probably bring them out everywhere else already. Another one was be true to yourself, stay authentic and serve yourself first, and share your voice rather than your sales pitch. Share your beliefs, your values, what resonates with you deeply, because that's what people are going to gravitate towards.
And don't disconnect from your why. Constantly come back to your why. Why am I on this mission? What is it that I want to bring forward? Because we can get very far away from that on the day-to-day, but just reharnessing and coming back to, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? What is my purpose here? Do I want to serve? How do I want to serve? Etc.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And would there be a practical thing that women can do or take away from today that will help them kind of hone all of these things we've talked about?
I think your triggers are your biggest teachers. And I think for this week, we can start off the day and we're great and we're meditating, we have our tea and, everything's good. And then all of a sudden something happens in our day where we start peaking and something really frustrates us or gets under our skin.
Yeah.
Those are our teachers. And if you can really sit down with that and analyze it a little bit more, give it some space, give it a platform where you say, why did this get to me? Why did this frustrate me today? Why did what this person say really get under my skin?
Yeah.
Because most of the time, and a lot of the times people don't want to hear this, but it's not the situation, it's not the person, it's actually something that's going on within you.
Right. That's right.
So to dive deep into that information and figure out, why is this bothering me? Does it sound familiar? Does it connect to an experience that I had that maybe was highly charged at some point in my life and I'm being triggered here? And to really make peace with it, to sit down and make peace with it, because that's another block. Our triggers are our blocks in a lot of ways. So
yeah, that's really a beautiful strategy. So women, notice your triggers and find out why that's happening to you, and think about what the reason is for you. That's just so beautiful. Really, really beautiful. There's a woman that I follow called Mel Robbins on
I've heard of her name, yeah.
social media, and she's got this new theory called the let them theory. And it really underpins that, let them say what they want to say, let them think what they want to think.
Love it.
And I think that there is a fine line, almost a paper thin line, between what we're so good at, which is empathy and communication and care, to letting them carry on with their interests, their beliefs, their statements, their rudeness, rather than trying to always go through to fix something or to make it better. That's all external. If you are confident enough in yourself, if you are settled enough in yourself, then those things won't trigger you or bother you.
Absolutely.
So that's one for me. That definitely is one I'm having to really learn, because it's something that is my trigger. Because I'm always wanting to please or make sure that everyone else around me has got what they need before myself.
100%. And we're problem solvers, and we're the nurses and the teachers, and
that's it.
All of those roles that we play, and the mothers, all those archetypes.
That's
so
it.
We want to solve, and we want to see people, be successful. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's also not just about us. It's just about holding the space and letting it be, instead of always trying to be better or try to figure things out. We can just relax. We can relax and let it be, and trust that people will come to on their own.
Amazing. What a powerful conversation. I hope you listeners have felt the same and have taken something amazing away from today. I know I have, and I'm definitely going to notice my triggers this week. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. So just one last shout out. Ilanith is now launching 2 programs. One is the workshop at the end of May, and another is her 6-month program to help us go deeper into really being the CEOs of bringing out the woman, bringing out our energies, our energies to be as strong as we can be. So
it's called Invisible Influence. So it's about influencing, but from a place that you can't see.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So click on the links below and explore what's right for you and get involved. And also Ilanith's contact details will be there, as well as the contact details for what I offer within She Exclusive, which is to enable business women to grow in mindset and in practical strategies to launch their expertise into digital products. So click on the links below and see what resonates with you. And I look forward to the next conversation. Thank you so much, Ilanith, for your time. It has been
Thank you so much.
And
thank you, Tirzah. Thank you for holding this space and having these beautiful conversations and bringing them to our world. I really appreciate this platform.
That's beautiful. Thank you. It's an honor to provide it. And I learned so much from all of the amazing women that I bring into this space. So thank you so much. And each of you have a wonderful day and have a powerful and productive week, and one that is self-aligned with your true authenticity. And if anyone hasn't told you today, you are fabulous.